The law of life is the law of belief. Joseph Murphy. Evolution is the law of life. Number is the law of the universe. Unity is the law of God. Pythagoras. Live your life as though your every act were to become a universal law. Immanuel Kant. The ultimate cause of human disease is the consequence of our transgression of the universal laws of life. Paracelsus. All life is an experiment. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Death does determine life. Pier Paolo Pasolini. The laws of nature are but the mathematical thoughts of God. Euclid. Life itself still remains a very effective therapist. Karen Horney. To know the laws is not to memorize their letter, but to grasp their full force and meaning. Marcus Tullius Cicero. Upon these two foundations, the law of nature and the law of revelation, depend all human laws. William Blackstone. The true laboratory is the mind, where behind illusions we uncover the laws of truth. Jagadish Chandra Bose. Change is the law of life, and those who look only to the past or present are certain to miss the future. John F. Kennedy. The only dependable law of life: everything is always worse than you thought it was going to be. Dorothy Parker. I lead no party, I follow no leader. I have given the best part of my life to careful study of Islam, its law and polity, its culture, its history and its literature. Muhammad Iqbal. We meet ourselves time and again in 1,000 disguises on the path of life. Carl Jung. If you see it in your mind, you will hold it in your hand. Bob Proctor. You can start with nothing, and out of nothing, and out of no way, a way will be made. Michael Beckwith. Dream lofty dreams, and as you dream, so shall you become. John Ruskin. It is the law of life that if you are kind to someone you feel happy, if you are cruel you are unhappy. And if you hurt someone, you will be hurt back. Cary Grant. What goes around, comes around. Willie Nelson. Let me be a free man, free to travel, free to stop, free to work, free to trade where I choose, free to choose my own teachers, free to follow the religion of my fathers, free to talk, think and act for myself, and I will obey every law or submit to the penalty. Chief Joseph. The perfect family doesn't exist, nor is there a perfect husband or a perfect wife, and let's not talk about the perfect mother-in-law. It's just us sinners. A healthy family life requires frequent use of 3 phrases: may I, thank you, and I'm sorry, and never, never, never end the day without making peace. Pope Francis. This is the first lesson ye should learn. There is so much good in the worst of us, and so much bad in the best of us, it doesn't behoove any of us to speak evil of the rest of us. This is a universal law, and until one begins to make application of saying, one may not go very far in spiritual or soul development. Edgar Cayce. I am a citizen of the most beautiful nation on earth, a nation whose laws are harsh yet simple, a nation that never cheats, which is immense and without borders, where life is lived in the present. In this limitless nation, this nation of wind, light, and peace, there is no other ruler besides the sea. Bernard Moitessier. All love is expansion, all selfishness is contraction. Love is therefore the only law of life. He who loves lives, he who is selfish is dying. Therefore love for love's sake, because it is the only law of life, just as you breathe to live. Swami Vivekananda. Be grateful for what you have now. As you begin to think about all the things in your life you are grateful for, you will be amazed at the never-ending thoughts that come back to you of more things to be grateful for. You have to make a start, and then the law of attraction will receive those grateful thoughts and give you more just like them. Rhonda Byrne. life, faculties, production. In other words, individuality, liberty, property. This is man. And in spite of the cunning of artful political leaders, these three gifts from God precede all human legislation, and are superior to it. Life, liberty and property do not exist because men have made laws. On the contrary, it was the fact that life, liberty, and property existed beforehand that caused men to make laws in the first place. To all earth's creatures God has given the broad earth, the springs, the rivers and the forests, giving the air to the birds, and the waters to those who live in water, giving abundantly to all the basic needs of life, not as a private possession, not restricted by law, not divided by boundaries, but as common to all, amply and in rich measure. Gregory of Nazianzus. Our economy is at war with many forms of life on Earth, including human life. What the climate needs to avoid collapse is a contraction of humanity's use of resources. What our economic model demands to avoid collapse is unfettered expansion. Only one of these sets of rules can be changed, and it's not the laws of nature. Naomi Klein. The more we search for ourselves, the less likely we are to find ourselves. And the more we search for God, and to serve our fellow men, the more profoundly will we become acquainted with ourselves, and the more inwardly assured. This is one of the great spiritual laws of life. Shaghi Effendi. Our subconscious minds have no sense of humor, play no jokes, and cannot tell the difference between reality and an imagined thought or image. What we continually think about eventually will manifest in our lives. Robert Collier. True health begins with your thoughts. Thinking about comfort, strength, flexibility and youthfulness attracts those qualities into your life and body. Dwelling on illness, fear, disease and pain does just the opposite. Your work is to notice and change your thoughts and move them in the direction of health and happiness. Christian Northrup. Give your difference, welcome my difference, unify all difference in a larger whole, such is the law of growth. The unifying of difference is the eternal process of life, the creative synthesis, the highest act of creation, the at-one-ment. Mary Parker Follett. There is grandeur in this view of life, with its several powers, having been originally breathed into a few forms or into one. And that, whilst this planet has gone cycling on according to the fixed law of gravity, from so simple a beginning endless forms most beautiful and most wonderful have been, and are being, evolved. Charles Darwin. Ranchers need clean water for their stock, farmers need it for their crops, every employer needs it to stay in business, and every living thing needs it for life. The law needs to be clear to protect water quality and the rights of landowners. Mark Udall. Ranchers need clean water for their stock, farmers need it for their crops, every employer needs it to stay in business, and every living thing needs it for life. The law needs to be clear to protect water quality and the rights of landowners. Mark Udall. The Northern Ocean is beautiful, and beautiful the delicate intricacy of the snowflake before it melts and perishes. That such beauties are as nothing to him who delights in numbers, spurning alike the wild irrationality of life and baffling complexity of nature's laws. John Lytton Singh. Does capital punishment tend to the security of the people? By no means. It hardens the hearts of men, and makes the loss of life appear light to them. And it renders life insecure, inasmuch as the law holds out that property is of greater value than life. Elizabeth Fry. The attacks of September 11th were intended to break our spirit. Instead, we have emerged stronger and more unified. We feel renewed devotion to the principles of political, economic, and religious freedom, the rule of law and respect for human life. We are more determined than ever to live our lives in freedom. Rudy Giuliani. What I can't understand is why come here and try and change our country into the place that you've come from. And all I ask of people is come here, respect our country, respect our laws, our culture, our way of life, be Australian, join us, enjoy this beautiful country and everything that it has to offer. Pauline Hanson. Love is the flower of life, and blossoms unexpectedly and without law, and must be plucked where it is found, and enjoy for the brief hour of its duration. D.H. Lawrence. There is a wonderful mythical law of nature that the three things we crave most in life, happiness, freedom, and peace of mind, are always attained by giving them to someone else. Peyton C. March. Stand fully in the now moment with gratitude, enthusiasm, openness, and readiness to respond to life as it greets you. Michael Beckwith.